for the first time since 2009. Today, the Panthers turn their focus to the orange of Syracuse. It's Pitt and the Cuse from the Carrier Dome.
Who got my left? I got your left. Who got my right? I got your right. Who got my right? I got your right. Who got my back? I got your back. Who got my back? I got your back. Who down the road? I'm down the road. Who down the road? I'm down the road. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
You're watching the All-State Saturday kickoff. It's the ACC on ESPN, but we can still hear the echoes of the old Big East. Pittsburgh in its third season in this conference, like Syracuse, but the Panthers may have their sights set on a trip to Charlotte and the ACC championship. Pitt 3-0 in conference, leading the Coastal Division. Good afternoon, Anish Shroff alongside former Texas Longhorn DB Ahmad Brooks. Boy, what a job Pat Narduzzi has done in his first season as Pittsburgh head coach. The only loss to an undefeated Iowa team, and that on a 57-yard field goal. How has he got this program turned around so quickly?
You said it. It's his winning ways, it's his winning attitude, and its approach that I think has really had an influence and an impact on this team. You look at Pitt in close games, particularly games that have been decided by single digits. They're 4-1. Compare that to last season, 1-5. The difference is this team is believing, and that man right there, head coach Pat Narduzzi, has this team believing in what they can accomplish.
Meanwhile, for Syracuse, key game today. You look at the next three, at Florida State, at Louisville, at Clemson. This team is already 3-3. You can start to do the math. This might be the season for the Orange.
Yeah, this is a deciding game for the players and I believe the coaches. I mean, when you look at this roster, it's not littered with players that are playmakers. And so today is a great opportunity for them to come out, have an opportunity to win. And Scott Schaefer said this yesterday, that he believes that this program is headed in the right direction. Today is another step to prove to the people that are here and to the alumni that it's headed in the right direction.
Scott Schaefer and Pat Narduzzi know each other real well. Those two worked on staffs together at NIU and Rhode Island. And these two schools have a shared history as well. They've been playing since 1916 and every year since 1955. And Ahmad, the last two games in this building were both decided by a single point.
Yeah, I mean, they hung in the ball game, and that's what they're hoping to do today. Pitt came through with some fourth quarter opportunities, and that's really was the deciding factor in these games. But Syracuse believes, after seeing what they've done the last 2 years, that they can win this game.
Pittsburgh leads the all-time series. There have been a lot of momentum swings in this series. At one point through the 90s, Syracuse had won 11 in a row, but Pitt has won 9 of the last 10. But as we told you, the last two games in this meeting that were played here in Syracuse are decided by a single point. Syracuse has won the toss. It is homecoming weekend for the Orange. Syracuse will defer, so Pitt will receive to start things out. Ahmad, you alluded to it. The Syracuse coaching staff has to get this fan base re-energized. Homecoming weekend, a lot of empty seats so far.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think in talking to Coach Schaefer, it was obvious that, he has the players here that are good young men, they're trustworthy, they're excellent student athletes, their APR has been the highest it's been the last 2 years. They've topped it each and every year, and they look to do it again this year. But at the end of the day, to bring people into this stadium, you've got to have something that you're excited about. And this team, at times, has not been competitive. And so today will be another opportunity to take on a ranked Pitt Panther team that is on their way to looking for a coastal title. And here it is, another opportunity to show where this program is at.
What's been remarkable about Pitt's early season success, the majority of their games have been on the road. This is the 5th road game for Pittsburgh in 7 games. The good news for the Panthers, only 1 road game after today. That's against Duke. You can see why a lot of folks are looking at Pittsburgh as a team to win the Coastal.
Yeah, they've got that favorable schedule. But what also you know and you learn as a player is you grow close together on the road. And so having those early experiences of having to go on the road, win football games, pull out close games, I think in the long run is really going to help the chemistry of this team.
Ryan Norton to kick off for Syracuse. Tyler Boyd back deep for Pitt. Boyd from the end zone. And he dives across the 20-yard line to the 23-yard line. Leading Pittsburgh on offense, the junior quarterback, the transfer from Tennessee, Nate Peterman. He began the season as the backup to Chad Wojcik, but by game 3, the coaches loved what they saw from him, especially with his accuracy. So this is his 5th straight start.
No question, and also the command of the huddle. I mean, he's a great leader, and you talk to this coaching staff, and this is the type of leader they want in the huddle. As you see Peterman coming out now, he's a young man that, as you said, his accuracy continues to improve, and it will definitely improve when you've got number 23 on your side.
Tyler Boyd lined up in the slot closest to the line of scrimmage. And Peterman goes to Boyd on first down. Tyler Boyd, the school's all-time leader in career receptions. He set the mark last week, and no surprise, he's one of our impact players.
Of course he is. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the nation. I'm not sure if there's anybody better at leaping for the ball when it's in the air. And on the opposite side of that, number 4, Zaire Franklin, the middle linebacker. He's responsible for making sure pressures are where they're supposed to be, and he also will be responsible today for helping stuff the run.
First running play, and there's Franklin with the stop after a 5-yard gain by Quadri Olison. Olison now the lead back for Pittsburgh. The Panthers went into the season with James Conner in the backfield, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. Conner tore his MCL in week 1. Olison in that first game ran for 207 yards, and he's been the lead back since. 3rd and short for Pitt. Olison up the middle. And he's got enough for a first down. Tackle made by Marquise Hodge. John Chaney, the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, Jim Chaney, pardon me, told us on 3rd downs they really can't get into passing downs. His biggest concern is number 13 on that Syracuse defensive line, Ron Thompson.
Yeah, he's a man, and especially on passing downs where he can pin his ears back and get after the quarterback.
Well, now Tyler Boyd lined up in the backfield. They'll move him around. And this is Peterman. Keeps it on the read option, takes a hit, gets across the 40-yard line. Stop made by Cordell Hudson after a gain of 8.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you watch film at where Tyler Boyd lines up. That time he was a part of a zone read package that they have. And when you've got a dynamic playmaker like that, find ways to get him involved, and you got to give credit to this offensive staff for finding creative ways to get him the football.
Pay attention to where Boyd is. Right now he's at the top of your screen. And they'll give it to Boyd. He threw one last week. He'll throw it again. Dantes Ford wide open inside the 25, and Ford finally stood up just shy of the 20. It's a 38-yard gain. Tyler Boyd has now completed a pass in 2 straight games.
Yeah, and he's also touched the ball 3 times early on in this ball game. Here it's just the reverse. You see him here. Now Peterman with a great block to seal off the defensive end, but this was a 2-man route. So he had 2 different options. He chose to go with Dantes Ford. But look at this kid throwing the football on the run. And that's an accurate throw for a guy who's a wide receiver. Tyler Boyd doing it all already.
Their coaches told us this kid can sling the ball about 60 yards if he wants to. He's got a great arm. Peterman, the ball comes out. And Pittsburgh able to recover. There was one of our impact players, Zaire Franklin, and he just blew up that play at impact.
Wow, he came straight up the middle, and you'll see on the replay here, number 4, Zaire Franklin in the middle of your field. Just a nice job of timing the blitz. He beats the fullback to the ball, George Aston. But Zaire Franklin making plays early, and now he's really put this Pittsburgh defense in a difficult situation like you talked about behind the sticks.
2nd and 17. Screen pass to Boyd. Boyd gets to the outside, and he's pushed out by the one they call Giant, 5'8", Antoine Cordy. We've seen Syracuse struggle defending that play the last couple of weeks, and Pitt likes to go to that play quite often.
Yeah, it's, especially when you pack them in, they've got usually a 7-8 man front, Syracuse does, so it's hard to get out on the edges. You're softer on the outside of the field. And so look for Pitt today to try to take advantage of that once again.
Boyd at the top of your screen on 3rd and 10. And a flag. It looked like Ron Thompson jumped.
Offside. Defense, number 13. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Pitt offensive coordinator Jim Chaney said on 3rd downs offensively, you got to do 2 things. Protect the quarterback, number 1. Get it to 23, Tyler Boyd, number 2.
Yeah, and that time there, Ron Thompson knew that it was probably going to be a passing situation, but now you give up 5 yards, and now this gives them the ability to also run the football on 3rd and short.
There's the toss. Olesen looking for the edge, and Franklin denies him shy of the 1st down marker. 4th down for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Antoine Cordy gets a great jump. The safety for Syracuse, a fine job of dissecting the play, running the proper angle, and finishing off the tackle. Syracuse, they just won on this particular drive. You hold Pittsburgh what it looks like to a field goal after they had picked up some good momentum and were charging down the field.
Last week's hero, Chris, blew it on for Pittsburgh. He hit the game winner against Georgia Tech, a school record 56-yarder. This one from 32. And that one sneaks inside the upright. Pittsburgh scores on its opening drive. 9 plays, 64 yards, capped by a Blewett field goal. The Panthers with a Chris Blewett field goal on its opening drive. And Pitt with a 3-0 lead. Pat Narduzzi taking notes. Blewett to kick it off for Pittsburgh. Brisley Esteem, the deep man for the Orange. As Esteem will stay put, Syracuse will take it out at the 25-yard line, and we get our first look at the true freshman from Lake Oswego, Oregon, Eric Dungy. He became the starter when Terrell Hunt went down with an Achilles injury in week 1. And for a true freshman, this kid has more than held his own.
I like this kid, and when I watch him on film, he can make all the throws, the short, intermediate, and deep throws, but his poise, I think, is what really stands out to me. Yes, he's a dual-threat quarterback, and I know some people say he takes too many hits, but when you're this type of threat, you're going to get hit because he's going to run the football.
Dungy hands it off to another true freshman. There's Jordan Fredericks. Fredericks across midfield. A burst of speed all the way down to the 20-yard line. A 55-yard run by the freshman.
That's how you start a ball game off. And for the people that are here, they just went right up the gut. You see it here. Zone read, a nice job of that right side of the line. Palmer and Trudeau caving it in and opening up a crease for him to do work.
This is not an experienced Syracuse football team, but the experience is on that offensive line.
Yeah, and they really like this group, and they continue to grow together. They've had to move around some pieces, but you see there, they can certainly clear the way when they need to.
Dungy off play action. That's Irv Phillips in the flat. Phillips with a juke move. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Wow, what an opening drive. 2 plays, 7 points. And this Syracuse bench is jumping up and down, high-fiving, and why wouldn't you after a drive like that to start the ball game against a defense that is pretty stout and sturdy.
An impressive counterpunch by the Orange after Pitt had a field goal on its opening drive. Extra point by Cole Murphy is good. And we say hello to the studio and to Brendan Fitzgerald. The American Conference has been strong. Houston, Memphis, Temple, all amongst the ranks of the undefeated.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a conference that's certainly making some noise.
Meanwhile, for Syracuse, that touchdown pass from Dungy to Irv Phillips, the first quarter points for the Orange in 4 games.
Wow. I mean, that's just a great start. And I mean, it was just simple one-on-one coverage. They caught Pitt with numbers inside of the box. That's something they like to do. And Irvin Phillips just makes one guy miss. He gets a great block downfield, and the rest is history.
Here's Boyd. Boyd still has it. And he's to the 23, 24-yard line. Let's go back to the TD.
Yeah, I want you to watch Irvin Phillips right here in the slot. Just a one-on-one opportunity. He's got a high safety. Dungy recognized it, gets the ball out quickly. Nice inside move, but look at the block downfield from Ishmael. Being able to handle his cornerback and opens up. Nice move there by Phillips to get open and to get loose. And you know, when you come out and you punch a team like Pitt in the mouth like that goes a long way in establishing your presence.
Olison on first down. He's got some room. And he takes the tackler with him out of bounds across the 40. Corey Winfield there on a stop, but a gain of 20 by the redshirt freshman from Niagara Falls.
Yeah, and when he gets his pads square and when he's moving downhill, he's tough to tackle.
Olison began the year as the 3rd stringer. But he's averaging almost 6 yards per carry and is the team's leading rusher. Hughes shows blitz. Peterman, that is complete on the near side. Dantes Ford with the tackle, or with the catch. A gain of 6, ball at midfield. Ford began his career at Syracuse, was a safety, and then transferred to Pitt, and he's been the big play threat. This team's still looking for some other wide receiver to emerge to complement Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, you're right, but when you've got Tyler Boyd, you don't really need a compliment. I mean, we saw him earlier and the damage that he was able to do in the opening series where he got 6 touches on the football.
Olison again. He plunges ahead for a gain of a couple, tackled by Donnie Simmons. So 3rd down now for Pittsburgh in Syracuse territory. Panthers today 1 out of 2 on 3rd down.
And this is where this Syracuse defense in 3rd and short situations, they like to show exotic looks and blitzes. So look for this team here to try to bring some pressure and make Peterman get the ball out of his hand quickly.
Collinsworth in motion. Peterman gets rid of it quickly, and the timing off that time as Tyler Boyd was the target. So 4th down now for Pittsburgh, and we'll get to see Ryan Winslow for the first time, the punter. Winslow's been a weapon for Pitt. 7 of his last 10 punts have been placed inside the 15. Fair catch by Esteen. He'll let it bounce. And another good punt by Winslow. It does take a Pitt bounce, or a Syracuse bounce, but down to the 16, a 33-yard punt.
Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Samuel Adams, for the love of beer.
A ribbon cutting at the new Sports Media Center at the Newhouse School of Communication. Andrew Siciliano, I know, does a great job
my God.
Every Sunday on the DirecTV Red Zone
How about
channel.
that?
You slip
My
somebody a 20, you get on the list.
Oh, my God.
Thought they were highlighting Siciliano. Dungy to the air here on first down. Broken tackle. And it's Steve Ishmael, the sophomore out of Miami, with a nice pickup for the Orange.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of this Pitt defense. They've missed a couple tackles early on in this ball game, and They play with extreme fundamentals when you watch them on film, but give credit right now to Syracuse for putting pressure on this defense.
A gain of 9 by Ishmael, so 2nd and 1. Syracuse scored on its first drive, 2 plays, 75 yards. Dungy to the air again, incomplete, intended for Irvin Phillips. 3rd and 1 for the Orange. What do you like about Dungy? Where does he need to improve?
Well, did you see him just now? I mean, he walked over to his wide receiver. He shook his hand, made sure he got on the same page with him. This kid is mature beyond his years, and I love the fact that he's a dual-threat quarterback, and he's tough as nails. I mean, when you hit him after plays, he gets right back up, and he's up for the next play.
Empty set here on 3rd down. Dungy on the quarterback keeper. He gets enough for a first down. That looked like a design run that time.
No question about it. There was a design quarterback draw. As you see him here, he sees the middle of the field open up, and it was a fine job there by Ewan Price to even get to that play, but he still pushes through and makes it happen.
There's been a lot of talk about how much Dungy should run, how much Syracuse needs him to run in the past couple of weeks. Downfield for Esteen. Makes the catch. And the flag on the play. It was Lafayette Pitts on the coverage. This might be offensive pass interference.
Yeah, I think it was. And what about the ball from Dungy? I mean, we said it earlier in the broadcast. His kid can make all the throws.
Pass interference. Offense number 9. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, this one hurts, and I think when we watch the replay here, you'll be able to see the push right there as he pushes off the defensive back, and the separation wasn't great. And to be frank with you, I don't think he even had to do that because the ball was thrown in the right location. And I think looking back, Ishmael's going to say, you know what? I should have just ran through the catch, and it negates a big play for Syracuse as they are marching up and down this field on this Pittsburgh defense.
The crowd disapproves, but that was the right call made by the officiating crew.
I agree.
Tom McCreesh, today's head official, an ACC crew. So instead of a big play, it'll be 1st and long for the Orange. Ahmad, when you look at this Pittsburgh defense on tape, maybe not a big standout, but as a unit, they seem to have what it takes to keep other teams down. They don't miss a lot of tackles, even though they've missed a couple early so far today.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is just a very fundamentally sound football team, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
This is Fredericks. And not much room for him, maybe a couple of yards, so 2nd and long now. And Pittsburgh defensively, a top 20 defense. The one area where Pat Narduzzi has really improved this D is with the pass rush. 22 sacks already this year. That leads the ACC. Only 19 all of last year.
And that is amazing. And it stands out when you watch them on film. They just do a nice job of timing their blitzes. They don't give you many exotic looks. They just execute the plays.
The Orange in their Army formation. Dungy rolling out under pressure. And he just chucks it out of bounds. They'll say incomplete.
Smart play from the young man. And I think, you know, when you start looking at where he can mature, this was an offensive staff that told us yesterday in the meetings where that's the area he can improve instead of taking a sack or trying to be magical back there or tap into his any Johnny Manziel. They want him to make smart decisions, and that time there, Dungy looked like a play that may have been insignificant, but the fact that he did that shows that this young man is growing and maturing.
Over the middle to Phillips. Phillips has some room, and he's tackled near the 30-yard line. He got 16, but still short of the first down.
Yeah, I think that was a good series for this Pittsburgh defense, and you look at it, Syracuse knew that they had to go underneath. They almost made it happen, but a great open field tackle to force a Syracuse punt.
So here comes the Heisman hopeful, Riley Dixon, who's become a cult hero here in Central New York. High punt. And Avonte Maddox with the fair catch. A 42-yard kick, Pitt ball, 4:16 to go, first half. ESPN.com if you want to put on a couple of games right here in the noon window. Clemson and Miami, a big game in the ACC, and Baylor with that great offense taking on Iowa State. Nate Peterman ran into his own lineman, dumps it off. He's got Chris James as running back, and James bulldozes ahead to midfield. They'll mark him out just shy of midfield. A gain of 22 there by the Pitt running back.
Jeez, watch the push from number 72, Stephen Clark, to the right side of your screen. He just pushes the guard into the quarterback, and great awareness there by Peterman to be able to handle that and still get the ball off for good yardage. But man, my man 72, Stephen Clark, at 6'2", 303, is a man down there, and he just showed it.
There's the blitz from up the middle. The give is to James. Nice cutback. And Chris James gets to the 46-yard line, tackled by Franklin. James last year set a career high with 122 yards against Syracuse. James Conner, the All-ACC, All-American running back, hurt his hip in that game, and James really took over, stepped into a big role. He's been the number 2 back for most of the season behind Quadri Olison. Peterman throwing near sideline, and there's Dontez Ford. Ford tiptoes the sideline, and he's out of bounds inside the 30, a pickup of 17.
Yeah, and Peterman that time went opposite of the double team on Boyd. He saw a one-on-one matchup to this side of the field, never even looked in the direction of Boyd because Ford had the matchup he wanted. Nice thrown ball on the outside edge in the right location as Pittsburgh moves the sticks again.
3 catches, 61 yards for Ford, who came into the game with just 8 catches on the season. Off play action. Here's Boyd. And he's out of bounds. And here's Schroff, Ahmad Brooks at the Carrier Dome here in central New York. Pittsburgh looking to go to 4-0 in the ACC. Syracuse looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Pitt scored a field goal on its opening drive, a 32-yarder from Chris Blewett. The Orange answered with a 2-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. Ford in the slot, Boyd split wide. Aston the fullback in the offset eye. The toss to James. He got out of the initial ambush to get back to the line of scrimmage. And now it becomes a passing 3rd down against the Syracuse defense, which will likely blitz.
Yeah, and you saw there Chris James' lateral movement, his ability to stick a foot in the ground, make one cut, and make people miss. He's a real mix-up when you look at Olison. He's more of the heavy, pound the ball type runner as they have a big 3rd down here. Here's the guy that you want to watch down here at the bottom of your screen, number 23, the preseason All-American wide receiver. They like to find him on 3rd down.
Peterman under pressure, and down he goes, sacked by Franklin. Well, you knew the pressure was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3rd down, and they know you can't let those longer developing routes take place. Just a simple twist up front, but Zaire Franklin just fights through the block. He disengages with the blocker, and on the end of that was a treat, a quarterback sack. Fine job there from the middle linebacker, making a difference early in this ball game.
So after the Peterman sack, it'll be a 50-yard field goal for Blewett, hit from 56 last week. This one is up, and that is no good.
There is no better feeling when you play defense. When you take points off of the board and when you fight so hard throughout a drive, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a position to shave points, and that's exactly what happened there. You saw the defenders for Syracuse coming off the field, a lot of energy, and guess where that transfers? Transfers to the offense. Let's see what they can do with the ball now.
Dungy with the option. That is Irvin Phillips. And he takes it to the 38-yard line. Irvin Phillips plays that hybrid back role. They call it the express back here at Syracuse. And the way offensive coordinator Tim Lester explained it, he's the second running back, he's the third wide receiver, and he's the second tight end.
I love that. I love the way he defined that. And I think when you look at this team on film, I mean, he has the capabilities of doing that. And Lester's never had a player that talented and that diverse and with that type of versatility.
Dungy to the air, in trouble, checks down to Fredericks. Fredericks has the first down, and he's shoved out of bounds by the freshman Jordan Whitehead. And that takes us to the end of quarter number 1 here in the Salt City. Pittsburgh got a couple of big plays. Tyler Boyd with his arm. The Orange with a few big plays as well. Fredericks and Phillips, the touchdown. Impressions on Syracuse's true freshman QB.
I think this kid is a program changer. I mean, you watch him here. He avoids 2 sacks, keeps his eyes up, keeps the ball alive, and converts on a crucial second down. Look, you don't coach those plays up. Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator, didn't tell him to do that. That was instinct and his ability to make plays. Eric Dungy, I believe, is the real deal and one of the better freshman quarterbacks in the country.
A lot of youth on this Orange offense. And we see more of it there as the true freshman QB hands off to the true freshman running back. And Fredericks gets to midfield, a gain of 5. Fredericks was the New York State Gatorade Player of the Year last year. This is a Syracuse offense where true freshmen have accounted for 70% of the production. True freshmen.
That's amazing.
And they've had their growing pains. Off play action, Dungy to Phillips. And Phillips finally wrestled down by Pat Amara, who's getting the start for the injured Terrence Webb.
One thing that stands out when you watch Dungy on film is his ability to get the ball out of his hand quickly. That time there, he doesn't spend time on the fake. He realizes that the most important thing is throwing an accurate football. And what Pittsburgh likes to do defensively, they will have their safeties no deeper than 10 yards. So these guys are up and around the box, which really opens up the edges and the outside of the field. We've seen him today take advantage of that in one-on-one opportunities.
This is George Morris, his first carry of the game. And he is slowed by Quentin Orginis.
Pittsburgh's tackle made by number 58, Orginis. Gain of a yard to the 43-yard line, second down and 9.
Dungy over the middle. That one is caught. It's the tight end, Paris. And he drags a couple of defenders to the 39. Finally brought down by the strong safety, Jordan Whitehead. It'll bring up third down. Whitehead has a promising future at Pitt. Number 9, leading the team in tackles. Had 16 tackles earlier this year against Iowa. And this staff thinks he can be a star.
He's a playmaker. He takes points away. The way this kid runs to the football, the angles in which he does it, and then once he gets there, he means business.
That one is caught, but not much room for Morris. Hit immediately, and this will depend on the spot.
Look, he saw the blitz, Dungy did. He recognizes it and gets the ball out of his hand before the pressure actually gets there. Watch this young man. He's a true freshman. It's a fourth down, but watch this play here. I mean, you see him. He gets the ball out quickly. It's thrown in the right location, safe enough for his wide receiver to make the catch and embrace himself for the hit. This is a crucial fourth down coming here.
You like the call?
I do like it. I think with the way that the momentum has been going, and it looks like here they've moved Dungy out up top, and this looks like a Wildcat formation.
Fredericks, the Wildcat quarterback. Direct snap to Fredericks, and he pushes across for a first down.
Yeah, I think those are the types of calls that if you're Schaefer, once you've got Pittsburgh's defense on their heels, you've got to keep pressing. And this Syracuse offense, has found a rhythm. They're moving the ball, and they're doing it very effectively right now behind the leadership of number 2, Eric Dungey.
Dungey back in his regular spot out of the pistol look. Fredericks, the tailback. This is Phillips being pursued, and Phillips forced out of bounds by Shakir Soto. Good pursuit that time by Pitt.
What a scary sight. When you're Shakir Soto and you're 6'3", 265 pounds, and you're chasing down one of the most athletic players for Syracuse, Irvin Phillips, just goes to show you what type of athleticism they have on the front line. And I can tell you this much, that is not an easy task to do for a big fella, to change direction and track a ball carrier down.
10th play of the drive. Dungey throws near side, and that will be ruled incomplete. It did appear to bounce up in front of Grizzly Esteem. And now 3rd and long for Syracuse.
And Dungey knows he missed one here. He just didn't step into the throw that particular time. And if he does, that would have turned out to be a big play for Syracuse. There was only one man preventing him from taking it to the house, and that was cornerback Lafayette Pitts. So another opportunity here for Dungey to prove himself on 3rd down. These are critical downs. Every quarterback and playmaker on offense is judged by what they do on this down.
Dungey 7 out of 10 here in the first half. Dungey floats one down the sideline. Ishmael fell down, and there is a flag. Avante Maddox was on the coverage.
Pass interference. Defense, number 14. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Go back to it, right? You convert on 4th down. Things start to fall your way. Momentum, the energy in this stadium is helping you out here. That was just a one-on-one opportunity. Ishmael was on Maddox. Dungey sees it. He beat the defensive back, was over the top of coverage, and he got tripped up. And to be frank with you, if I'm Maddox, that's a smart play, because if he doesn't do that, that's a touchdown.
Maddox, the top cover corner for Pitt. Fredericks. He's inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. 2nd down coming for Syracuse. This will be the 12th play of the drive.
Two-yard gain to the 18-yard line. 2nd down and 8.
Pitt has not lost in conference play. 3-0. Looking to pull out its 4th road win of the season. Dungey gets rid of it quickly. There's that quick release, and he's got Ishmael along that far sideline.
And that quick release prevented Jordan Whitehead from making a play on this football. You'll see the safety on the right of your screen trying to get underneath this route and fulfill his responsibility, but Dungey, once again, getting the ball out efficiently and putting it in the right location. This young man is growing up right before our eyes.
3rd and 2.
3rd and 2.
Phillips motions. Dungey will run. Quarterback keeper. He's got a 1st down. Got free from Whitehead and able to get inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Syracuse.
Give offensive coordinator Tim Lester some credit, okay? This is a designed quarterback run, and he said, I've added more into the package because of Dungey's durability, his toughness, and his will to want to run the football. There, just a fine job on the play fake, quarterback draw, designed. It gets them inside of the 5-yard line with another opportunity to score a touchdown.
Now Dungey is split wide. It's the Wildcat look again. Direct snap to Fredericks. Running left side, cuts it back. And then he's swallowed by that Pittsburgh defense. It was Whitehead on the stop, along with K.K. Mosley-Smith. Offensively, it's been a better showing in 2015 for Syracuse. Last year, you see only 6 passing touchdowns, 17 interceptions to go with those 6 passing TDs a year ago.
And that makes your defense want to play harder when you've got an offense that's putting up those types of numbers. 15th
play of the drive. Dungy looking for the end zone, and it was nearly intercepted. It went off the hands of Phillips.
Great anticipation once again on the part of Dungy. I mean, just great rhythm on this throw, and frankly, these are the types of plays, if you're Irvin Phillips and you want to be one of the key playmakers on this team, you've got to haul that football in. I know despite it being high and away, you're in the end zone. All you got to do is catch the football.
Could you see a quarterback run here on 3rd and goal?
It makes sense, especially from this distance.
Dungy rolling out, has a receiver in the flat, but Pittsburgh read it all the way. Nicholas Grigsby, one of the outside linebackers, stopping the Syracuse drive, and the field goal unit will come on for the Orange.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense just didn't fall for the play fake. They saw it coming and did a nice job of dissecting the play and then reacting, which is what defense is all about, getting in the right location once you've seen the play and once you know what's coming.
Cole Murphy on for a 23-yard chip shot. And the kick is good. A 17-play drive for the Orange. It ends with a Murphy field goal. Piscataway, JT Barrett will get the start for the Buckeyes. Urban Meyer finally making the move to replace Cardell Jones.
It's the smart one, and I'm trying to figure out what took the ball coach so long to make the decision. Just so much more difficult to plan for a dual threat like Barrett. And Cardell Jones has struggled all year long. I think it's the right move.
Here's Tyler Boyd from the 1. Boyd with a little bit of an opening. The ball comes out. It's in the air. Who's got it?
Woo! Played the boom. Watch this hit here from number 19, Davon Ellison. I mean, this kid brought the wood on special teams, and he doesn't get a lot of defensive reps, but I can tell you this much. When you're making plays like that, defensive coaches are paying attention.
Now Pittsburgh able to hold on, and a big break for the Panthers. Boyd motions. He gets it on that little pop pass. Tyler Boyd with a first down for Pittsburgh. They use him in so many ways, so it's easy to say, well, you know it's going to go to Boyd, focus on him. That's tough when he lines up everywhere.
Yeah, it's not that easy, and it's hard to get a guy to track him because then you tip off the offense, whether you're in man coverage or zone coverage. So what you try to do is just tell everybody, rally to the football, run to the football. But Boyd, one of the more spectacular players in all of college football, showing today why he is so special.
Play action. Peterman over the middle, to the near sideline, and that was Boyd who could not hold on.
Yeah, rare drop here, but we'll go back to the previous play where you see him. I mean, he's just right in front of you as he's going to come around on a jet sweep. They get it to him, and he turns a corner, and a fine job of this offensive line of caving in the right side, giving him that edge where he could turn the corner. But Boyd, such a special playmaker, and he does this time and time and time again. When you watch on film, he bails his team out of crucial situations with his playmaking abilities.
Yeah, with James Conner gone for the season, Boyd now becomes the centerpiece of this Pittsburgh offense. Now we've got a timeout by Pat Narduzzi. We'll take a break as well. 6:57 to go here in the second quarter.
Kickoff, brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
That was the scene at Funk and Waffles. Two members of our production team had breakfast there, and they make waffles as exotic as Syracuse has blitz packages.
I like it. Looks good.
Peterman to Boyd. And Tyler Boyd zigzags his way across midfield for a gain of 10 yards. He's got a Pittsburgh first down. Fourth catch for Boyd.
It's just simple ways to get him the football. And, they're not doing anything complicated, frankly. These are basic plays, but his versatility allows him to line up in the backfield, the slot, outside at the wide receiver X position. And, you've got to give credit to Boyd for also knowing the playbook and being able to have an understanding of how this offense works.
He's one of the best receivers in college football. Peterman against the pressure, and he is devoured by Franklin. There is a flag at the end of the play. Now Zaire Franklin has put his stamp on this game, but he might get flagged here.
Personal foul, roughing the passer with targeting. Number 4 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. The targeting is under review.
Well, they will review the targeting penalty on Zaire Franklin. And with targeting, that's an automatic ejection if the review is not overturned.
This would be a huge blow for this Syracuse defense. And I think this is just a fine football play. He jumped because it looked like the quarterback was throwing the football, and when he didn't, he tucked it in. I've got to be frank with you guys, being a defender, it is hard to change direction in the air. So it didn't look like it was an ill intent where he came in trying to take the quarterback's head off. I can see where the officials are coming from and how this could be called targeting, but this is something that the Rules Committee needs to sit down and evaluate, because football plays like this cannot lead to a player of his caliber being ejected from a ball game.
Well, it appeared, as you saw from Peterman, it looked like he went to pass. The defender went up maybe to try to bat that pass down. When Peterman tucked it, Franklin fell on him. And this is going to be a critical video review by the officials. Franklin, you had him as your impact player in this game, and he's been the best defensive player on the field in this first half.
It was without question. And I mean, I've got this look of astonishment on my face right now, because this is just a simple football play. There wasn't anything that I thought that was malicious in this hit. And in fact, it didn't even look like he came down with his head. He jumps right here because it looks like Peterman was about to throw the ball downfield. Any defender in football would have made that play.
After review, there is no targeting, and can be no pass interference, roughing the passer, because the ball was not thrown. It's simply second down, 9-yard line.
Well, Ahmad, the referees seem to agree with what you saw. And again, to explain the targeting rule, it's a personal foul resulting in a 15-yard penalty and ejection when there is either targeting of a defenseless opponent with forcible contact to the head and neck area, forcible contact, kind of the crucial word there, or a hit by the crown of the helmet in any situation. And a replay overturns the ejection and the 15-yard penalty. Any other penalty on the play will be enforced. So it turns from what looked like maybe the loss of a key player by Syracuse to now a second and long for Pittsburgh.
Look, I commend this officiating crew, particularly the referee, Tom McCreesh, for coming in. And look, that was a football play. Nothing about that was malicious. It wasn't Zaire coming in and trying to take the quarterback's head off. I just thought that was a football play, and he did what any other player would have done. Now, I know Pat Narduzzi is trying to figure out, because that is a big play. I mean, you take off the best defender in the middle of the field for Syracuse, it changes this ball game.
Well, the new corollary to the rule this year was that you can now also take away the penalty after the review. That wasn't the case in the past. Peterman will hand it off to James. James to the outside. Great speed. James with a big gain for Pittsburgh. Finally forced out by Sism. Well, he had 18 before he stepped out.
Yeah, and one thing that this Syracuse team has struggled with is getting off the field. That time there, you see Stephen Clark with an opportunity for a tackle for loss. It turns into big yardage for Pittsburgh and gives them a third and short situation here. Those are the types of plays that if you want to go to the next level, if you want to compete here in the ACC, you've got to make those plays. The coaches put you in prime position to make a play, make your play.
Third and short now for Pittsburgh. Play clock down to 1. And Peterman asks for time. Thing on that throwing hand earlier, he's been fiddling around with it. Meanwhile, that last run by James under review. They're reviewing the spot where James stepped out of bounds. Let's see if we get a clear look. Remember, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn a call. James was marked out just before the line to gain.
And that right foot right there is questionable. From this angle, it looks like it was in, which would give them enough for the first down. We'll see what the officials come back with.
Again, indisputable video evidence needed to overturn a call. Otherwise, it defaults to the ruling on the field. '71st all-time meeting between these two schools. Pitt has won 9 of the last 10, but as we told you at the top of the broadcast, last 2 meetings between these two in Syracuse have been 1-point affairs.
It's a great
Can
job.
you tell? Can you tell?
Yeah, it's a great job by our truck getting the right angle. And I tell you what, it looks like he's in there to me. I didn't see where it crossed over into the white area. We'll see what the official has to say here.
Is it indisputable?
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. He was short of the progress spot. It'll be third down. Pittsburgh is charged with a timeout, and they've lost their challenge.
And that was Pat Narduzzi who challenged that play. It was not an official's review.
And that's as close as you can get to the sideline in making that call. Big third down here, though, for this Syracuse defense.
Pittsburgh now out of timeouts.
That hurts.
James, the deep back, Aston, the fullback.
They brought in their meat and their muscle. They're looking to run here.
Goal line set. The toss to James.
Chris James, on carrier. Tackle on the play by Ryan.
He stopped him.
And he's going to be short.
Wow.
So 4th down, you've got the ball just inside the 40. And the offense is going to stay out on the field.
Yeah, this is the area in which you go for it. You hear teams talk about from the 50 all the way to about the 40 where you're outside of field goal range, but you have these types of opportunities. Look for a quarterback sneak here.
They'll give it to Allison. And he makes the one cut to get the first down for the Panthers. So a big 4th down conversion by Pitt to move the chains.
And you saw Syracuse go for it earlier on a 4th down, which ended up leading the points. But these are why the coaches make the big bucks here, to make these types of decisions. Watch the penetration up front, and just a nice job of blocking there.
Well, we were zooming right along up until a few minutes ago. Are they going to give Pittsburgh a timeout back? So the timeout that Pittsburgh called before we went to break, I guess that'll be the challenge then. And so they'll have one more timeout. Peterman on the run. Under pressure, open receiver, it's the tight end Holtz. A gain of 14 and a first down for Pitt, and Peterman kept that play alive with his feet.
That was awesome. You know, watching that was very pleasurable to the eye. Let me tell you why. It looks like they're covered up downfield. He's got to square his shoulders up and nearly throw the ball across his body to make that throw. That was a big-time play there by Peterman. And boy, was wide open downfield as you see here. But when you're rolling out like that, it's hard to set your feet and be able to get the muscle you need in that throw to get it downfield.
Off play action, that ball batted down, and it's incomplete. Paris Bennett, the strong side linebacker, got his paw on it.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. If you can't apply pressure, get in those passing lanes, throw those big paws up, and make it hard for the quarterback to find an area to throw.
You go back to that pass to Holtz. A lot of attention has been focused on Boyd by opposing defenses. These Pittsburgh tight ends this season, we saw it last week against Georgia Tech. They've had opportunities and they have made big plays.
You're right. Three touchdowns apiece for their two starting tight ends. You're right about that.
This time they go to their bread and butter. It's Boyd. And Tyler Boyd out of bounds inside the 20. They'll mark him out at the 16. It's a gain of 8.
Yeah, pick your poison with Boyd. That time there they decided to play him off coverage, soft coverage, about 7-8 yards deep. And Peterman just pops up and throws it out to him. And now you're playing football with perhaps the most talented offensive player on your team. Good coaching there. And, with this third down coming up, this is an area, 3rd and short. We talked about it earlier, where Syracuse likes to show exotic looks that aren't their normal look, to apply pressure and to get to the quarterback.
Well, they've got Boyd right now lined up in the backfield. And Boyd will get it. And Tyler Boyd able to pick up a first down.
Yeah, what can't this kid do?
You got me.
I mean, wow. This is just amazing. They just run a zone read with the kid. I mean, he's playing running back at that point. He's not playing wide receiver. They understand the value and what he means to this team. And this offensive staff is going to him early and often as he's making plays for this Panthers team.
He's run the ball in this first half. He's thrown the ball.
Wow.
And he's got 5 catches. Olesen has the edge. Olesen inside the 5, marked down at the 2, tackled by Corey Winfield.
Yeah, and he's just a downhill runner. Olesen is. I mean, he's the kind of kid that if you're in the secondary, you're a linebacker, you don't want to hit this kid more than 10 or 12 times a game. And you see when he squares up those shoulders right there, a nice job of avoiding the stiff arm there from Corey Winfield, but he's the type of player that you don't want to see in the open field with either ability to run through you or around you.
1st and goal from the 2 for Pitt. Olesen will be stopped short of that goal line. 2nd and goal.
Looked like he was still fighting for yardage there as he was somewhat on the Syracuse defender and managed to pick up a little more yardage.
The Pittsburgh contingent making the trip all the way to central New York. My producer tells me every single one of them was at Dinosaur Barbecue last night. We hung out down by Marshall Street.
No doubt. I'll have to check that place out the next time I come in.
A few of them couldn't get in because the line was so long.
Well, that means it's good food, It's worth the wait.
I'm waiting to hear the verdict on Dinosaur from our director, Mark Jones, who's a South Carolina native. I'll let him be the true judge of Northeast Barbecue.
Indeed. Analyze that barbecue, Jonesy.
Syracuse has called a timeout. Pittsburgh on the doorstep. Last play under review. The officials are looking at the spot of the ball.
Yeah, that knee looks like it's down there.
The ball was spotted at the 1-yard line. Tom McCreesh, today's referee. Scott Schaefer and Pat Narduzzi, these two guys are friends. They go way back. Big story making the rounds this week when they were assistants at Rhode Island. Schaefer told Narduzzi he was allergic to kiwis. Narduzzi didn't believe him, so he peeled a kiwi and then rubbed the juice all over Schaefer's desk. The next time he saw Schaefer, Schaefer's eyes were shut.
It has been determined that the runner's elbow was down with the ball on the 2-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 2-yard line. The clock is okay, 1:41.
Great challenge there by Schaefer, by the way. You take away 2 downs.
So that last play reviewed, and instead of a goal to go, We're talking third down.
Here's where you rely on the
Syracuse
middle
still-
of your defense.
By the way, just to finish that Kiwi story, Narduzzi said, he saw Schaefer with his eyes shut and swollen, and he got an earful from Missy Schaefer,
That's
Scott's
great.
wife.
Great story here. All friendships aside on a big third down like this.
14th play of the drive. Olis in the deep back. He gets the call, pushes ahead, and in for a Pittsburgh score. Sixth rushing touchdown of the season for the redshirt freshman.
The Niagara Falls, New York native, doing a fine job here. I mean, he's returning home, and that run looked like that was for all the fans that he may have in the stands. That was just a physical run. Put his head down, pads out in front of him to finish off a nice drive there by the Panthers offense.
He was a kid recruited hard by Syracuse. Point after is good. We are tied, and we get a preview of halftime from Brendan. Last check, it was Clemson on the road leading Miami 28-0. We saw the Tigers in person last week and came away incredibly impressed.
I think they're the team to beat in the ACC, and I'll tell you why. Deshaun Watson's development. We were talking about a young quarterback here today in Eric Dungy. Deshaun Watson, only a sophomore, with the same type of impact for his team. And then you mix in the fact that this Clemson defense is salty. They're nasty, and they're a physical bunch. And so I think the pieces are lining up for this Clemson team to finally get over the hump and potentially win this ACC title. Look, they've got to take on FSU. They've got to understand what it's like to now have the target on your back and to play through those games. But from what we saw last week, if I were deciding right now, Clemson is one of my 4 teams in the college football playoff.
Well, if Clemson were to knock off Florida State next month, there might be a chance they could see this Pittsburgh team in Charlotte for the ACC championship.
I agree.
It'll be a touchback, and we remind you, a doubleheader on ESPN tonight in the SEC. Texas A&M goes to Ole Miss. Can the Rebels bounce back after that shocking loss to a rising Memphis team last week? And all of a sudden, Ahmad, Stanford appears to be the team to beat maybe in the Pac-12. I know Utah's been very good, but Stanford, since that sleepy season opening loss against Northwestern, boy, McCaffrey, the running back, he looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Yeah, Cardinal picking up steam there in Palo Alto for sure. And David Shaw and his staff just doing a fine job of keeping his players focused. They're still in the fight. They're still in the hunt. And if you had to go on history, Stanford looks like the favorite coming out of the Pac-12.
Utah an underdog today as they take on USC. Dungy finds Esteem, who makes the catch at the 32 for a gain of 8. He's out of bounds. Under 2 minutes to go in the half, so the clock stops with 1:31 left.
That was just an option route. You know, he could have either driven that route deep on a go, or he could come back on a comeback, and he set it down. And so now you look at Dungy. He's been able to perform very well in this first half, but these are the types of moments where you really win over a fan base. You win over your teammates. Under 2 minutes with the ball in your hand, what are you going to do?
Downfield again. And that hit the helmet of Irvin Phillips. Well, that means the throw is there.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, wow. I mean, the anticipation on this throw here, he threw this football before the wide receiver came out of the break. That's why he didn't spot it. But if you're Phillips, you've just got to do a much better job. As you see, Dungy knows they missed on a big one. Those are the types of plays that get you chunk yardage, get you in field goal range, and give you an opportunity to put points on the board.
You know, the most famous helmet catch in the history of football was made by a Syracuse alum, David
Fair
Tyree.
enough. Yeah, I remember that. Rodney Harrison hates that for the Patriots.
There's Fredericks, his second catch of the game, changing directions, and then dropped. Lafayette Pitts on the stop.
And that's a freshman move. He's got to get out of
Third down.
bounds there. He's got to have the awareness to know where the situation is on the clock. He's got to get out of bounds.
4th and 1 rather, ball at the 34, clock continues to run. And Syracuse wants a timeout. Well, the Orange have controlled time of possession on a couple of drives so far. You had a long 17-play, 62-yard drive, and 6-play, 15-yard drive, ate up some clock. The first one was a couple of quick strikes. Jordan Fredericks ripped off a 55-yard run, and Irv Phillips had a 20-yard TD catch.
Defenses hate to see numbers like that right there. 17 plays. I mean, they were dragging their tongues coming off of the football field. Those are the drives when you're on defense. When the fatigue starts to set in, mental mistakes and errors start to happen. So if you're Syracuse, being able to sustain drives, that's something that this offensive staff has talked about. If you can keep your defense fresh, and you also gain confidence when you're moving the ball up and down the field like they've been able to do in the first half.
Well, give credit to Pittsburgh. It's been bend but don't break at times defensively, and they have made a couple of big stops when they've had to. You said it earlier. This is not a Pitt defense that is loaded with maybe next-level talent.
I would agree.
But as a unit, they function real well. And what Pat Narduzzi has done in his first season as head coach, this team very quickly adopted his identity.
Yeah, they did. And what he was able to do at Michigan State, when you turn on the film and watch a Michigan State team while he was the defensive coordinator there, they flew to the football, they tackled well, they did all the things that they were supposed to do as they were reviewing the spot here on this last play. Let's take a look at it here.
Well, it looks like he's got the first down there. Then he turns back and goes the other way, but they may give him forward progress there. I'm not sure. That might be forward progress.
And if it is, that'd be a great break for this Syracuse team.
1:07 to go first half. A lot of reviews here in the second quarter.
After review, it has determined that the forward progress spot was on the 36-yard line. The ball will be placed there, and will get first down. Please put 1:19 on the clock, 1:19.
Well, that's the third review in this first half that has gone in favor of the home team.
We'll give the head coach some credit, for believing in his team and what he saw. A lot of times coaches will just trust what the officials say. This time here, Coach Schaefer doing a fine job of challenging for his team, and it's turned into some positive plays for him and his team.
Fredericks lined up in the slot, 1st and 10. Clock continues to run. Steve Ishmael pushed out of bounds by Maddox, a gain of 7. 2nd and 3. Clock stopped with $1:11.
Yeah, just so impressed with this kid. They go empty formation, which means that there's not protection there for him in the back. So he's got wide receivers on the outside edges. Pittsburgh knows that, and Dungy still gets the ball out on time, out of his hand quick enough to pick up some good yardage on first down.
Dungy, number 1 in the ACC in pass efficiency. Pitt's Nate Peterman, number 2. High throw hauled in by Esteem, pushed out of bounds by Pitts. A gain of 7. It's a first down. Clock stops with 1:06.
That was a great grab there by Esteem to get off the ground, get up in the air. He knew he was exposing himself. That's where you take those rib shots. But he knew that this is the time where the game's on the line. And these are the types of points when you look back at the course of a game and you say, you remember that 2-minute drive at the end of half that turned into points? This is where you win football games.
Downfield for Ishmael. He gets it over Maddox. Ishmael finally tripped up by Javonte Pitts, but it's a 40-yard gain and a Syracuse first down.
Yeah, this wasn't about the ball here. This was about the wide receiver making it happen. He catches it at his highest point. Nice job of body control and hauling that play in as they're back up to the line of scrimmage, really trying to press the gas on this Panthers defense.
1st and goal from the 10. Clock starting to run again. Here's Phillips. He's tripped up at the 6. 2nd and goal. And Syracuse has called its final timeout with 38 seconds to go in the half.
Wow. We've seen Dungy make some great plays today, but this was about his wide receiver bailing him out. Gave him a great opportunity, and at 6'2", 203 pounds from Miami, Florida, I'm sure he's done this a lot in practice, but maybe the biggest catch of the season for this young man as he goes up in a crucial situation against a Panthers team that they're trying to put more points on the board and put more pressure on.
Pardon me, Syracuse still has one more timeout here with 38 seconds to go. They got one back on the review. We want to remind you, celebrating its 11th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship money. So second and goal, one timeout left, 38 seconds to go. Dungy in the empty look. Dungy's going to try to run, not much room. Got away from Galambos, but Bradley able to take him down. Third and goal for the Orange. The clock continuing to run and now stopped with 31 seconds to go. So Syracuse stops the clock, now out of timeouts. And what do you do here on third and goal, Ahmad?
Well, I'm not sure what you do offensively, but I can tell you what I think the defense is going to do. They're going to do what they did on that previous play, which is bring pressure.
Yeah.
And you saw that Army set, as they like to call it, with two H-backs and wide receivers outside. I mean, they just completely let 47, Matt Galambos, go right through the line of scrimmage. That was a breakdown in protection for sure, because when you don't have a back end, you've got to be able to do it. And it looks like the left guard, number 66, might have been responsible there for letting that go by. Pardon me, 68, Nick Robinson. He just didn't quite see him come through. So, you know, those are the types of plays that you can't make in the red zone when you're trying to score points. But here on a third down, what's been successful for them? Putting the ball in number two's hands, giving him an opportunity to win the game by what he sees on the other side of the field. I look for this to be a pass, and for Dungy, as you can see in an empty set, looks like he's going to put this one in the air.
Dungy to the air on the slant. Touchdown, Syracuse. Steve Ishmael.
Yeah, this kid's for real. You know, 2 minutes. Team trusting you, depending on you. They put the ball in your hands on a crucial and critical third down. What do? You put the ball on the money to what looks like maybe one of his favorite targets today, number 8, Ishmael. He's gone to him a few times today in critical situation, and he's come through.
Ishmael, 5 catches, 67 yards. He had a career-high 97 receiving yards in the loss to Pittsburgh last year. And you look at Dungy and Fredericks and Ishmael. Well, that's the future offensively for Scott Schaefer.
It is. And I said this earlier in the broadcast. You know, Dungy's the type of player that can change the program. And Schaefer's gotten some heat here from the fan base, some of the alums wanting to see change. They're coming off a 3-win season. It looks like the back half of their schedule is the toughest. So you've got the fans talking. Well, do we need a new coach? Look, when you've got a player like Eric Dungy, who he recruited and brought in here, went out and found in Oregon, and the recruiting trips and the stories there in Oregon were just unbelievable, how Tim Lester had to drive to see this kid. But it has paid off. When you do diligent recruiting, you go out and you find guys that can play at this level, it can at sometimes, like it looks like it's about to do here, perhaps save Schaefer's job and change the way that this fan base is looking at him as a head coach.
It's one thing for Syracuse to go get a guy from Oswego. That's just up the road. Yeah. Lake Oswego, Oregon, a different story.
Indeed.
That's Pitts. Pitts to the 40, and he stumbles to the 43. Today's Good Hands play brought to you by Allstate. And we're going to give it to Steve Ishmael. Just high points this one against Devontae Maddox, Pitt's top cover corner.
That was great. He comes back here with the touchdown on just a simple slant route. He bought time, did a nice job of getting.
Well, late hit, number 12, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, doing a nice job of getting
that's the
defensive back outside.
A late hit on the Syracuse place kicker, or the kickoff specialist, Ryan Norton. And now this changes maybe the way you view these final 20 seconds. Pitt's going to have the ball in Syracuse territory.
Yeah, that's questionable. It looked like he was already going to contact him as he was going down to the ground. And you can't fault the kicker. He didn't get a lot of tackles. He was just trying to finish that off. Watch for Boyd here. He's at the top of your screen. That's the guy. Money ball for him during these types of situations.
Pitt's got a timeout here. Peterman. He'll step up and run. He's got a first down and more. He's inside the 30. 13 yards on the play. Clock will momentarily stop with 12 seconds after the first down. And now it starts on the official signal. Peterman spikes it. 9 seconds to go in the first half. Pitt with a timeout. Panthers in this first half got a field goal on their first drive. Last week's hero, Chris Blewett, hit a 32-yarder. Pitt's lone touchdown was from Quandre Olison on the last drive. They had one drive that ended with a missed 50-yarder. All right, 9 seconds, one timeout. Remember, you can't spike the ball with 2 seconds or less. Peterman, downfield for Boyd, makes the catch in traffic. 4 seconds to go in the half. And now there's some confusion there along that near sideline. The side judge says incomplete.
We're going to have to review this. It looked like a catch.
The ruling on the field is that the receiver went out of bounds and did not establish being inbounds before he caught the ball. It's therefore an incomplete pass. Ball be put at the previous spot. Third down.
And you saw the official there picking up his hat. That's where they're taught to do is throw their hat there. And
you can't be the first guy to touch it after you go back
no
inbounds.
Question. Yeah. As they bring out the field goal unit, you go back to Peterman's scramble, which put them in field goal range.
This is a 47-yarder. We know he's got range. Blewett hit from 56 last week.
Previous play is under review.
We're going to review that last play. So, now this could be a potential game changer.
And he's at the bottom of your screen, so watch Boyd here. And I would think he's forced out there. And you can be forced out and come back in the game.
Yeah, you see that foot is out of bounds. So now the question, Ahmad, as you said,
was he forced out? Yeah, and it looked like the corner got a good jam there. And this will just come back. This is at the discretion of the officials, whether they felt that the force in which the cornerback pushed him was enough to carry him out of bounds, or was he just going out of bounds? Hard call to make here.
You play defensive back. What are you taught in those situations as a DB?
Well, I mean, he does a good job, the cornerback here, of getting his hands on the wide receiver. You're taught to do exactly what he did. He rolls through, he gets his hands on him, he rolls back, he opens up for the football. I mean, for Pete's sakes, though, that's just one of those plays where Tyler Boyd went up and made a catch. So, I don't think you're taught necessarily to push them out of bounds, but you're aware of the rule if you play at this level. Another crucial call.
Well, let's say, hypothetically speaking, if the call is reversed, does Pitt have a play for the end zone, or are you still looking at a field goal?
They've got one timeout. I think it'd be one quick play if that. Yeah, I think you walk away with the points here and just take an opportunity to make a field goal that's closer range.
Well, and that's the key. Instead of a 46, 47-yarder, you're probably looking at a much more makeable field goal. Although, again, we're indoors, so the elements are out of play. And
all fair.
Blewett hit from 56, which was a school record last week.
Now watch.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did establish himself in bounds. The ball will be placed at the 12-yard line. It'll be first down. Please put the game clock to 5 seconds.
So you add a second.
The game clock will start on
See that jam right there by the cornerback. He's out and he comes back in. And the official there throwing his hat where he went out. I think this is the right call, guys. I really do, because for the corner to get his hands on and force him towards the sideline, that's hard to do, to try to run and pay attention to that.
It's a 30-second timeout.
So Pittsburgh calls the timeout. So this becomes a much more manageable field goal for Blewett. You're looking at a 29-yarder instead of what looked to be about a 46-yarder. 1 for 2 today. Off the upright and in.
Doesn't get much closer than that. Wow.
So Pittsburgh gets 3 as we send you to halftime. Your score, it's Syracuse 17, the Panthers 13. Time now for the college football halftime report. Here's Brendan Fitzgerald in the studio.
Kickoff.
The true freshman quarterback for Syracuse, 15 out of 20, 139 yards, 2 TD passes in the first half, and the Orange lead Pittsburgh 17-13. And Ishraf Ahmad Brooks, Dungy, the tone setter offensively.
Yeah.
The more you watch him, what do you like?
Well, I like a number of things, but you're going to see a few plays here where you see him use his arm, use his feet, and use his brain. And the first one here is on the other side of the ball. He has a lot of help with the captain, number 45, Zaire Franklin, as this young man is balling. And he was the impact player for a reason. I'm so glad the officials overturned that call. But here's the real superstar in the story of the first half, Eric Dungy. Look at him, dodge 2 defenders, keep his eyes downfield, keep the play alive, goes for a first down. And how about the design quarterback runs here? You say he gets hit hard, you see him embrace that hit, and then finishing off a 2-minute drive with a touchdown. Those are big-time plays from a young player as he continues to develop right before our eyes and show us why this is the kind of kid you can build your program around.
For Pittsburgh, really, they were able to move the ball 226 yards of total offense in that first half. The same number that Syracuse had finishing drives. A little bit of an issue for the Panthers here on the road. Second half underway. Brisley is steaming his own end zone, and he will stay put. First half stats brought to you by United. Eric Dungy with a terrific half, 2 TDs. He's run for 12 yards. And probably most importantly for Syracuse, he's thrown the ball away a few times, and Steve Ishmael's made some great catches.
Yeah, he looks like he likes this guy, and he's a favorable target. And then they've been able to also run the football on the opposite side, Quadre Allison has done a great job of finding spaces inside and also punching balls in from short distances. He's a power runner for sure.
From the 25, Dungy able to escape. There's that escapability you talked about. The play looked to be broken down, but Dungy bounces back up. Boy, he took a hard hit, and Scott Schaefer running onto the field to get his quarterback. Yikes. Now Dungy stayed down and then sprang up, and Scott Schaefer ran out on the field to get his freshman quarterback.
And this is a big hit. It's also a big play. And you know what Pitt did? First play of the drive, they bring 6-man pressure. And so he avoids it. But there, the helmet-to-helmet collision, something that everywhere across football, people have been more considerate of those types of shots. And so Dungy now on the sideline looks like he's being evaluated by the medical staff. But he popped back up. And you just hope the young man is okay.
Well, Zach Mahoney starts to warm up on the Syracuse sidelines. This kid was a junior college transfer who walked on to Syracuse, a preferred walk-on. And he started a game this year against LSU when Dungy was out with an upper body injury after a helmet-to-helmet hit against the Central Michigan Chippewas. Quarterback position, it's been tough to keep these guys healthy for the Orange. Terrell Hunt tore his Achilles tendon in week 1. Dungy, a concussion in that Central Michigan game. That was the 3rd game of the season. So Mahoney started against LSU. And a kid who showed some promise last year, A.J. Long, he started 4 games as a true freshman a season ago, medically disqualified last week after multiple concussions. You hope Dungy is okay. That was the fear that the folks locally and this coaching staff had with Dungy. Sometimes he can be a little too reckless, and he gets in the way of danger. So now Zach Mahoney in the game for Syracuse. And a whistle.
False start. Number 57 offense. 5-yard penalty.
Right
Second
tackle,
down.
Amari Palmer. And one play into the second half, the pendulum has swung and this game has changed.
Yeah, and if there's any indication on what this Panthers defense is going to do, they've brought a 6-man pressure on the last 2 plays. They're going to blitz, and especially now that Mahoney's in the ball game, look for Pitt to really turn up the pressure.
And Dungy heading toward the locker room as it's 2nd and 12 for Syracuse. Mahoney will hand it off. Fredericks looking for running room. He takes a big hit at the 25. That was Grigsby who delivered the hit on Dungy with the tackle.
Yeah, Panthers are playing with a little bite right now, a little fight. This was not the outcome you expected in the first half for Syracuse to be up 17-13. And I'm sure the message at halftime for Pat Narduzzi was, look, guys, we've been here before. This is one of the best closing teams in all of college football. They're 4-1 in games decided in single-digit points. So if you're Pitt, this is where you've been all season long. Now it's time to stand up.
Mahoney. His pass nearly intercepted. It is a catch, though. Pitt's almost had it. It'll be short of a first down. So 4th down for Syracuse, and here comes Riley Dixon. Everybody's favorite punter, maybe the favorite orange player here in Central New York.
Yeah, I think it's really neat that he's
Dixon
getting the
for
credit.
Heisman is a hashtag, folks.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's neat, and I think he's worthy of it. This guy is really a field position weapon.
They've had some fake punts with him where he's done a few things, fake field goals as well. There's Maddox. He'll return this one. And Maddox swarmed at the 20-yard line. The Carrier Dome holding its breath. What's up with Eric Dungy? You're watching the ACC on ESPN here in Syracuse, New York. Anish Shroff alongside Ahmad Brooks. If you're just joining us on that last Syracuse series, Orange quarterback Eric Dungy left the game after a big hit. For about a half second, he stood motionless on the ground, then sprang back up. Scott Schaefer came out to get him. Dungy was taken to the locker room. Backup QB Zach Mahoney finished the drive. Screen pass to Tyler Boyd on first down, and he is stopped in his tracks.
What do they call him? Giant. Antoine Cordy. That was one of the best open field tackles we've seen all day today. And I told you earlier, watch how this kid runs angles. He just runs right past the blocker. Great job of controlling his body at the end of that, and then to wrap up. That was a fine tackle there by the strong safety who's small in stature but makes big plays like that regularly.
Another Syracuse player down on the far side of the field. That's Ron Thompson, who's been their best defensive player this year, leading the ACC in sacks. He actually scored Syracuse's only touchdown when these two teams played last year. Punched it in from a yard out on the old Maryland I formation.
And the coaching staff said this young man, he's got great instincts. They're still trying to get him to the point, though, where he plays hard every snap. And that's sometimes difficult to do when you're a specialist or you're a guy who likes to rush the passer. You've got to play with that same type of intensity on every down.
That left hand pinned behind his back as he walks off. And losing Thompson and losing Dungy. That's a rough start to this half for Scott Schaefer.
Indeed.
2nd and long, Pittsburgh. Peterman goes back to Boyd, slips one tackle, and dives across the 25 for a gain of 9. So 3rd and 4 coming up for the Panthers.
Yeah, that's just called a dagger out on the outside where they let Boyd come underneath and they push a tight end down the field to keep the safety high and just run their best player underneath coverage as the crowd here getting up for 3rd down.
Peterman's got time, looking for Boyd, threads the needle in double coverage for a Pitt first down, a gain of 24.
Wow, that was a fantastic throw. He threw it in the right location, in the right window. This is just a 7 route, as they call them, a corner route. The safety was probably a tad bit too high, and the cornerback was too low. And it was thrown in that difficult window as the crowd here getting up as Dungy has come out from the locker room. But the other playmaker on the field, Tyler Boyd, coming up big on third down for the Panthers.
Dungy back on the Syracuse sidelines. Here's the toss. Olesen breaks one tackle, and he's going to be stopped shy of the line of scrimmage by Hodge. Tyler Boyd with that last catch, 79 yards in the game. He's now third all-time in career receiving yards at Pittsburgh. As you take a look at Dungy.
I'm sure right now he's telling his teammates, I'm fine. Guys, I'm good. Let's go. Let's go out here and get us a W today.
This is a team, as we showed you, they've gone through a lot of quarterbacks. 3 starters this season. Used a lot of guys a year ago as well. Boyd, upended. Another big play in the backfield. That's Jawan Dowles, and it's 3rd and long.
That's 2 plays on this particular drive where the secondary has come up and tackled well in open field on Tyler Boyd. That time there, he was just upended by the cornerback, doing a nice job of fighting off the block. And once again, this Pittsburgh team in a crucial 3rd down. I have a feeling that they'll go back to their playmaker, number 23. Let's identify where he's at. He's going outside. He's up here at the top of your screen. This is the guy to watch. They like him on 3rd downs.
Out of the backfield, Challingsworth. And a nice tackle in space by Julian Wiggum, who lost his starting job this week, seeing some action as a safety, but a big tackle there by Wiggum.
Yeah, that was 3 open field tackles from the secondary, and I don't know what they're doing in practice, but whatever they're doing is working, because you saw him there be able to drag ball carriers down. It's the hardest tackle in football to make. But as you said, Julian lost his job earlier. He's really struggled in coverage at times. The deal is he's there. He's just not making plays on the ball. But that time there made a play for his team, and it gets him off the field.
Fair catch by Esteem on the Winslow punt. And Eric Dungy appears to be coming back out for Syracuse. First play of the second half. This is what happened. Listen.
Oh. That was a violent collision.
Dungy was taken to the locker room after that hit. Scott Schaefer went out on the field to get him. But he's returned. He's back in the huddle to lead the Syracuse offense. And a lot of folks here, given the history of injuries to quarterbacks, probably feared the worst. Dungy pumps, in trouble. And that is caught. Steve Ishmael having himself a ball game.
Wow, 2 playmakers today, I think, finding the right chemistry. Dungy, once again, scrambling outside the pocket, keeping the play alive, but most importantly, keeping his eyes downfield. This play can't happen if he decides to tuck the football and run. Maddox there on the coverage, just not enough for Ishmael, as he's made 2 beastly catches on top of defensive back heads today.
Ishmael 6 catches for 101 yards, his first 100-yard receiving game. Fredericks up the middle and finally tackled from behind by Juan Price, but a gain of 9. Following our game, Duke and Virginia Tech, a big game in the ACC Coastal. A couple of years ago, the Blue Devils won in Blacksburg, and that was the first road win against a ranked team for Duke since 1971. Now if Duke wins, that would surprise nobody. McFarland picked up the blitz. Dungy's going to air one downfield, and that one broken up by Maddox. No flag. Well, it's been a tough afternoon for number 14, Avonte Maddox, the true sophomore, but a good play there.
Yeah, and I know what it's like to be an undersized cornerback. He's only 5'9", 170 pounds. I was just an inch shorter. And it's difficult when you're taking on a 6'2 wide receiver. You're giving up weight. You're giving up height. And that time there, he just fought for the football. And I think to play the cornerback position well, you've got to be a true competitor. And that is exactly what he showed on that play as Ishmael almost came up with another big catch.
3rd and 1 for Syracuse. Dungy will hand it off. And McFarland stopped 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So 4th down for the Orange. Big play by that Pitt defense. Caprera led the charge.
Yeah, but I'll say this. McFarland did not run with authority there on that particular play. And in those types of situations, short situations, you make one cut and you go. And you are decisive, and you got to make something happen there for sure.
Well, middle of the field, Riley Dixon with his shenanigans.
Yeah.
Up by 4 with Scott Schaefer roll the dice here. Maddox, the deep man. Dixon will kick it away. And this one goes out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it. Marked out at the 24-yard line, only a 23-yard punt. Pitt football.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by Cabela's. Get to Cabela's for all your hunting, fishing, and camping needs. Cabela's, it's in your nature. And Samuel Adams, for the love of beer.
The number 44 has special meaning here at Syracuse, worn by Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, officially retired in 2005, restored in May. A committee will decide when to hand out that number to a player and who to hand it to as Darren Hall gets dropped in the backfield for a loss of 4 by John Raymond.
Yikes. When you can reestablish the line of scrimmage like that, you're going to be fine. And the one thing that this Pitt offense didn't want to do is they didn't want to be in these 2nd and 3rd and long situations, but John Raymond just blowing by the offensive line and playing in the Panther backfield.
No player for Syracuse wears number 44 this season. Only one player wearing 44 between the lines. We'll tell you who that is after this play. We got a glimpse.
False start. Number 86 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, there is Matt Steinbeck, a backup linebacker, a graduate transfer from Bucknell. Only player playing today who wears 44. Tell you what, you look at the running back history of both these schools, it is an
Scary
impressive
good.
list.
Indeed.
2nd and long. Peterman. Too high for Ford. 3rd and long. All right, Ahmad, I'll defer to you.
Oh, boy.
Which school has the better running back stable? There's some names on that list.
Look, I respect what Pittsburgh has done here, but when you got Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Larry Zonka, and the Moose, look, man, it's over for me. I think depth-wise, Pittsburgh has more, but Syracuse has more talent. And if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Syracuse on this one.
Here's Tyler Boyd, well short, and it'll bring up 4th down. I'm sure the Pittsburgh fans are getting all over you on Twitter right now. Tony Dorsett, hey, Curtis Martin's a Hall of Famer.
I
Shady
understand
McCoy,
all of that.
good career he's having in the
Jim
NFL.
Brown and Ernie Davis are enough for me.
No,
I
listen,
mean,
those
honestly.
guys are legendary. Tony Dorsett's a college football legend. Ironhead Hayward.
That's all great. But we're talking about the GOAT here, Jim Brown, the greatest of all time. I mean, look, man, that's with me.
I'm just trying to broaden the argument, that's all. Here's a steam. Out of bounds to the 40-yard line, a 52-yard punt. College Football Sunday, the only live national college football show on Sunday. You can watch it 8 a.m. to noon Eastern, and we leave you with an hour of NFL pregame. Tell you what, a week from Tuesday, the first college football playoff rankings
Excited about it. It's a fun time of the year, this time of the year, where you've got teams really competing and really showing what they're made of, and and it's going to be fun to track the college football playoff all season long.
Fredericks spins across the 40 to the 42 for a gain of 3. We have an injury update for you. Syracuse defensive end Ron Thompson questionable to return with an upper body injury. Dungy looking for Ishmael. He's got Steve Ishmael. And Ishmael across midfield to the 45-yard line of Pitt. It's a first down and a pickup of 13.
Yeah, he's just to the boundary side in one-on-one coverage. And you see him here, nothing fancy. Just a nice job of sitting down his route behind the defensive back. And that's one of the hardest routes to cover as a DB, because you're thinking go route, go route. The guy's already caught 2 balls on my head. I'm going deep. And then he drops his hips, sits down in a route, and picks up a first down. Very difficult route. Ishmael having himself a game today.
Fredericks up the middle, and he's to the 42-yard line. We're at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. The Orange looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Pitt looking to go to 4-0 in the ACC. Schroff, Ahmad Brooks. This rivalry dates back to 1916. And these two had some wars in the old Big East. 3rd year in the ACC for both programs and both at different points. Dungy over the middle. That's tipped and intercepted. Matt Galambos with his 2nd pick of the season.
Dungy here dropping back, looking for a route over the middle, and that's ball thrown in the wrong location. It was. You would prefer to see that ball thrown outside. I'm not sure if this was an option route or not, but just not thrown in the right location. And you look at it. This is his only 2nd interception over the last 114 pass attempts. So when you see the disgust in this young man's face, that's the reason why. He's protected the football like a veteran all season long.
Tyler Boyd in the backfield this time. He's been all over. High snap. The give is to Boyd. Gets past Franklin. And he is out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, Boyd just stretches you.
He's fun to watch, isn't he?
He sure does. I mean, he stretches you both ways. Horizontally with his ability to go deep, laterally with those jet sweeps. Just a fine player who, at this point, looks like he's a shoo-in to be playing on Sundays.
This is Peterman. He'll keep it. He's got a first down and more. And Peterman finally out of bounds. Forced out by Chauncey Sism after a gain of 14.
Yeah, he hadn't kept the ball much today, and this really caught the defense off guard. You see it here. I mean, just nobody expected Peterman to keep there. But Peterman's athletic enough to where when talking to this Pittsburgh staff, they said, look, we've got design runs in for him, but we understand that that's not his strength. So he can run the football, and we will use him like they did just now.
Play action. Downfield, Boyd fell down, no flag. Crowd wanted a hold in the backfield, and Peterman took a big hit.
He takes a big hit. You see it here, Peterman just takes a shot from Donnie Simmons, comes through and just wasn't able to get. Yeah, he was looking for Tyler Boyd downfield on a post route, just didn't have the time nor the footing to be able to do that.
Was that a hold?
That was close.
That's Darren Hall, the true freshman, for a gain of a yard, tackled by Franklin. Hall hails from Youngstown, Ohio, which is where Pat Narduzzi grew up, and we have a late flag.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 57 of the offense, intentionally contacting a game official. 15-yard penalty, third down.
They got the center there, Artie Rowell, and a rare mistake there by the fifth-year senior captain.
That's not a call that you hear often.
You look at Rowell's trajectory at Pitt. He was recruited by Wanstead, signed by Todd Graham, and he's played for Paul Christ and Pat Narduzzi.
Wow.
Pittsburgh has had 8 different coaches since the start of 2010, if you count the interim head coaches. Peterman's going to run. Ball comes out, it goes out of bounds. And Pittsburgh will keep it, but will be forced to punt.
You know what, Anish, when I watch film, one of the sexiest things on the football field is seeing a big, large man run. And that time, Donnie Simmons misses on the first time.
On the field is a forward fumble out of ball. The ball replaced at the 44-yard line, fourth down.
And when you see him put his foot in the ground, don't give up on the play. Donnie Simmons comes back. Peterman doesn't see him. He peels back on the quarterback. Those are the things that you like to see. Those are effort plays that turn into winning results.
Not often you hear big, large man and sexy in the same sentence. As the Winslow punt goes into the end zone for a touchback. There is laundry on the field.
Kick catch interference. Number 9 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down. Timeout.
Yeah, these are just plays that you can't make. You see the fair catch call there. Bad play for Pitt.
The last 2 games between Pittsburgh and Syracuse at the Carrier Dome have both been one-point affairs. 2012, last game between these two is Big East members. Dyshawn Davis with a fumble return for a touchdown. And Syracuse pulled out a 1-point win in 2013. As ACC members, Pittsburgh with the win to become bowl eligible. The Panthers have won 9 out of 10 in this rivalry, and this game probably since the second quarter has just not had much rhythm, and that's for both teams.
Yeah, it's been very difficult to find, and I think that's why you see the score where it was going into halftime at 17-13. So, but this is I believe this is a big drive and possession here for Syracuse, because if you can come out here, score some points heading into the fourth quarter, boy, do you put a pressure on a Pittsburgh team that is not accustomed to throwing the football like that.
Dungy to the air here on first down, underthrown and intercepted. Lafayette Pitts has it into Syracuse territory and down at the 44. That's now 2 interceptions from Dungy since he took that big hit to start the second half.
Yeah, he's been sharp today, but this particular play in his last pass, just lazy and lackadaisical, didn't get his foot fully into the throw, and once again, the wide receiver couldn't find the football. He threw it so soon. And then an excellent job on the outside of reacting to that play. He's in zone coverage, reading the quarterback's eyes, managed to come off and get a big interception for the Panthers.
Let's see if Pittsburgh can capitalize off this turnover. Olesen still churning. Give him 3, 2nd and 7. Lafayette Pitts now with an interception against Syracuse in consecutive seasons. There's that screen to Boyd, gets a block from Challingsworth, and he's out of bounds. He's got a first down. We check in with Brendan. All back here, 17-13, Pittsburgh driving. 1st and 10 after Tyler Boyd's 11th catch of the afternoon. Olesen right up the middle, and he gashes the defense for a gain of about 9.5, 2nd and short.
Such an aggressive style of running.
Antoine Cordy down for Syracuse after the play. Cordy, who's only 5'8", was trucked by Olesen, a 6'2", 230-pound bowling ball.
It's hard to come up with a game plan trying to tackle a big back like that. You see here in the replay, right here is a collision.
And Olesen just seemed to run over him.
Yeah, and also, too, sometimes when you overextend on those tackles and put just a wing out, you run the risk of injuring a shoulder, injuring that hand that you put out there. And that's why they tell you want to try to get in front of a ball carrier, which it's ill-advised going up against a guy like Olesen, who's such a powerful back. But it's good to see him get off the field, as Antoine Cordy has been a vital part of this Syracuse defense all season long.
He came into the game leading the team in TFLs and doing that from the safety position.
Impressive. Very impressive.
2nd and short. Forward in motion. Back on the ground, back to Olesen. And did he get enough on that initial push to get the first down? He's going to be a little short, so 3rd down coming up, and we'll have to wait until the 4th quarter for that play. Pat Narduzzi and this Pitt team have owned the 4th quarter, and they pull out a rally on the road again. The defining trait of Pat Narduzzi's team this season has been finishing games. This is their time, the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and it's the start of it. And they just started this since Narduzzi comes here. Entering the 4th quarter, they're jumping around, throwing water all over the place. I love it. I think it brings excitement and really gets you prepared for the fight that you're going to endure during the 4th quarter.
3rd and short to start the 4th. Olesen with a first down as he dives across the 20. Well, Pittsburgh's been great in the 4th quarter, but look at these numbers. Scott Schaefer's teams at Syracuse, when leading after 3 quarters, 13-1. Winless when trailing going into the 4th. In this case, Syracuse leads by 4.
So good numbers. Unfortunately for him, on the other side, his friend, they're 4-1 in close games that have been decided by single digits. So one of those streaks will end today.
Only lost by Pitt this season on the road to Iowa on a 57-yard field goal. Olesen running with purpose. He's inside the 5 all the way down to the 1-yard line. They may look at that to see if the ball crossed the plane.
Right up the gut, and he's gained the bulk of his yardage running in between the tackles. He's just a physical runner. And a good job there of trying to finish off the run.
Olesen stays in the game. He was short of that goal line. He'll get it again and in for a touchdown. Pitt takes the lead. Now this kid seems to be getting stronger the deeper we go into this game.
I couldn't agree with you more. And in talking to the coaching staff, they made it very clear. He's the type of back that wears you down. And coming into the fourth quarter now, he can make you miss by making a move, because all game long he's been able to pound guys, get his pads out in front of him, and run through wimpy tacklers. You see it. The freshman with two big runs here wants to get him inside of the 5, and then the final one to punch it in and to get pay dirt as Pittsburgh takes the lead.
Who's in?
Who's in?
Who's in?
Who's in?
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in.
Well, Pitt is in the top 25 for the first time since 2009. A week from Tuesday, we find out what the initial college football playoff rankings look like. Scott Schaefer's team led just moments ago, now down by 3, about to get the football. 20-17 Pittsburgh. Plenty of time to go. Syracuse will take it at the 25. Elsewhere in the ACC, Clemson putting a hurting on Miami, 45-0. NC State leading Wake Forest, 28-10. Duke, Virginia Tech follows our game. Florida State and Georgia Tech. And tonight on ESPN2, the Yellow Jackets favored to win the ACC Coastal Division. They lost to Pitt last week. 5 losses already, 4 in conference play. Been a tough go for Paul Johnson.
It has, and this is an opportunity, though, for them tonight to try to salvage the season and get a win that's worthy of getting this team back in the right mindset.
Eric Dungy hands it off. Jordan Fredericks fighting for yards. And he's able to get 4 to set up 2nd and 6. You want to be careful about drawing conclusions and certainly jumping to them. Dungy was so good in that first half, 15 out of 20. In the second half, 2 interceptions, both after taking a big hit on the first play of the third quarter.
Yeah, he's got to put that behind him now, though, because they still have a chance to win this football game. You think about that when you're watching film during the week.
Nice catch there. And the flat by Irv Phillips. Syracuse able to move the chains as Phillips hauls it in. Dungy's previous 2 passes were picked off. Ishmael's had a big game lined up on Maddox, bottom of your screen. Dungy takes another big hit in the backfield. That was Bam Bradley.
Looks like he grabs face mask here, but he grabs the back of the helmet. Very unique tackle there. As you could tell, Dungy's face mask wasn't quite clear when he came back out, and he's twisting that neck now, trying to make sure he's okay.
He's run the ball a lot the last couple of weeks, 35 carries against South Florida and Virginia. Not as much today. Underneath, that one complete. And the tight end, Josh Parrish, able to pick up 10. 3rd down for Syracuse now.
Nice run after the catch there by Parrish, which puts them in a more manageable situation on 3rd down. Here's where Dungy can really hurt you. He can run the design quarterback run, but he also has proven that he's effective enough as a passer to connect on these types of plays.
There's that Army formation by Syracuse. There's the pressure from Pitt. Came from the middle. Phillips. I think he got a pretty good spot. He might have enough. And it's going to be a first down for Syracuse.
It's a Syracuse first down.
6 catches for Phillips. That's a new career high. He had 5 last week against Virginia. Option. Dungy will keep it. Across the 40. Still on his feet and out of bounds. Inside the 30 to the 27. A gain of 26.
Great play call there from offensive coordinator Tim Lester. Hadn't seen this today, and he comes with the speed option, gets Dungy out in front. He makes a good decision to keep the football and a smart decision also to go out of bounds without taking a hit. But the down the field blocking was also what opened it up. The wide receivers finishing it off defensive backs downfield opened up the running lane for Dungy.
Hand off to Fredericks. And he's to the 25-yard line. Well, we saw what Dungy can do with his athleticism. Remember last week, that was Quinn Blanding he hurdled, an All-American safety, by the way.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move there. And talking to the coaching staff, they said you can only do that because he did it in high school. You can only do that if you score a touchdown. The first thing he said coming off the field to Schaefer, hey, Coach, I scored.
And Tim Lester, his offensive coordinator, calls that when he does his Johnny stuff, referencing Johnny football. Dungy back to Ishmael, who drops it. Well, he's made a couple of high degree of difficulty catches, but unable to hold on to that one.
Yeah, those are those simple plays that turn into difficult plays sometimes because you just think, I've got this. I'm going to catch this football because it's thrown in my breadbasket. And that time there, took his eyes off the football and a big drop there.
Morris in the backfield on 3rd and 7. Pittsburgh brings pressure. Dungy over the middle to his tight end, Paris. A little short of that first down marker, so it's 4th down from the 20. And let's see what Syracuse does. They'll bring on the kicking team, Cole Murphy. We'll try to tie this game at 20. Riley Dixon to hold. 37-yard attempt for the tie. The kick is good. It's a brand new ball game with 9:20 to go in regulation.
ESPNU College Football All-State Saturday Kickoff. Brought to you by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? And Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
We're tied at 20 at the Carrier Dome. Pittsburgh looking to stay undefeated in the ACC. Syracuse looking to snap a 3-game losing streak and get its 2nd conference win. Scott Schaefer and Pat Narduzzi have a long and shared history. Philosophically very similar on the defensive side. They've learned from each other. They've worked with each other. Now on opposing sidelines. One hits Pitts. He's tripped up shy of the 15 and a flag.
Going to return. Illegal block in the back above the waist. Number 83, the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
See it right there, blocking the back. And that really does hurt here as now Pitt coming out of their own end zone, backed up as this Syracuse crowd gets off their seats.
Tyler Boyd in the backfield. He gets the call. Boyd tripped up at the 10-yard line. He got 5 back on that play, 2nd and 5.
And here's the difference in this ball game for me. Syracuse, if you ask Coach Schaefer, he says they're about 3 plays away from getting 3 more wins. On the opposite side, Pittsburgh has made those plays, and that's why they're 4-1. Those types of experiences as a player, you keep them in the back of your mind, and they add to your confidence or they take away your confidence in situations like this.
It's been a turnover-free game for Pitt so far on the road. Peterman to Boyd. There's that screen. And Boyd is driven out of bounds by Sism. 3rd down for Pittsburgh.
And despite how impressed I've been with Eric Dungy, the freshman quarterback on the opposite side, Peterman has been special as well. He hadn't thrown a touchdown, but he also hadn't thrown an interception. He's protected the football here. And on this critical and crucial 3rd down that could determine the outcome of the ball game, look for him to find his favorite target, number 23, Tyler Boyd, the All-American wide receiver there in the slot.
Peterman goes for Dantes Ford, who makes the catch for a 1st down. Well, Ford has had his breakout game of the season, 4 catches, 78 yards.
Yeah, and that time they run another corner route, a 7 route. They've run this a few times today. They connected on a big one there for Boyd. This time it's Ford. It was a good route, and when you catch them in zone, there's a window right there that Peterman has been able to connect on several times today.
A little breathing room now for the Panthers. Peterman 18 out of 23 passing. Chris James for a short game. Play action, that's caught by the tight end. Scott Orndorff with a big gain. So a lot of attention on Tyler Boyd and some of the other players able to take advantage.
Yeah, and they just ran the tight end right into the space that Boyd had just vacated. And usually that means when you've got double coverage over the top, that's a soft spot in zone. The Panthers found it on that play for another 1st down.
That last play good for 17. Orndorff came into the game averaging 28 yards a catch.
False start. Number 69 offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Adam Bisnovati, the left tackle. This sort of feels like an old Big East game, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're throwing haymakers now.
They'll give it to Boyd on the end around. And Boyd out of bounds at the 46-yard line. This will bring up 2nd and 9. Good job there by number 20 for Syracuse, Cordell Hudson, to get off that block from Jamar Parrish.
Absolutely it was.
Boyd back in the backfield. Peterman on the read option. And he's taken down at the 48. Third down. Caton Samuels on the stop.
And Ron Thompson just entered the ball game. Standout defensive end there.
Thompson 13 in blue. There's the pressure. Peterman over the middle. Intercepted. No, batted down. Almost picked off by Cordy. Peterman tried to make a dangerous throw.
Yeah, this is a fine job of not giving up on the play. He went with two hands, and that right hand just rakes the football out. They call him Giant for a reason, because they say this kid does not play anywhere near his stature. You talk about a big third down PBU, a pass breakup. That was awesome coverage there on one of the top wide receivers in the nation.
Fake punt. Winslow throws it for a first down to Columbus, the linebacker. He pulled a Riley Dixon. So Pat Narduzzi dips into the bag of tricks with less than 5 minutes to go on the road in a tie game.
That play was a backbreaker. Oh my goodness. You see here, they've got the numbers. He probably could have ran here, but soon as the player commits to come tackle him, they built it in where he had an option there to pass. Gutsy play there by Narduzzi that pays off for the Panthers.
High snap. James to the 41, a gain of 5. Let's go back to the punt. The fake punt.
And this is why they've been able to win games, close games at the end of ball games. Just a timely call from the coaches. The play works to perfection. Execution on the punt team was fantastic. Ends up moving the chains.
If we were to have said before the game we'd see a fake punt in this game, given what we've seen all season, you would have thought, all right, Riley Dixon's going to do something, but it's Winslow, and what a play call by Narduzzi.
Surprise, surprise.
This time they run it to the up back, and that's James. Tyler Boyd was lined up as the deep back.
Yeah, and emotionally, if you're this Syracuse defense, you're thinking, wow, we just get off the field, we do enough, and now we're back on for sudden change. At this point in the ball game, they're winded. And so now is where you really have to focus on that side of the ball. On a third and short situation, these are situations where Syracuse likes to blitz.
Out of the goal line set, here's Olesen, and he rumbles ahead for a Pittsburgh first down. Well, this is a little bit of deja vu for Syracuse last week. Virginia put together a late 19-play drive that was aided by a face mask penalty to send the game into overtime. UVA would win in triple OT. 13th play of the drive coming up for Pittsburgh. They started at the 5. Olesen up the gut. And he's close to the 20-yard line. Quandre Olesen, a couple of rushing touchdowns today. 83 yards on the ground. Now they've seen this movie before.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are plenty of people sitting at home with the same look on their faces. And to your point with Olesen, I mean, this young kid has really shown today why he can be the workhorse for a team like this. You know, I know Pitt fans just disrupted when you hear the news James Conner's down, but you're getting a chance to see a young back, I think, take on a load and show that he can handle more responsibilities.
They'll feed Olesen again. And this is straight power football, folks.
All it is.
Third down coming up. We've got a timeout by Syracuse. Eddie Schroff, Ahmad Brooks, boy, Pittsburgh in the fourth quarter. That's what has defined their season so far. We're seeing it again today.
You don't pull out these types of victories unless you have extreme team belief, and we talked about it early on off the top of the show. But that is what Narduzzi has brought from Michigan State. The ability for his players to believe in the game plan, with the game on the line, to trust coaching, to trust their situational football. And it has really paid off for Pitt this season.
I'm sure Glenn Ross was recommended off-season viewing. Coffee is for closers. Olesen up the middle. He appears to have a first down for Pittsburgh. So the Panthers move the chains. And for Syracuse, they seem to be in control of this game for almost the entire first half. And then really things changed when Dungy took a big hit on the very first play of the third quarter, left the game, went to the locker room. He came back in. He just hasn't been the same. Yeah, and then it led to 2 consecutive interceptions, and the second one led to points. So, whether he was shook up or not, whatever happened, this team lost a little bit of confidence. Big measurement here, and yeah, Pitt's got it by a football. Pittsburgh won last week on a 56-yard field goal with a little more than a minute to go against Georgia Tech. If the Panthers eke out a win at the Carrier Dome, they would match their win total from last year. And also become bowl eligible at this point in the season. That's something to be very proud of.
Challenging the progress spot that led to the first down. Plays under further review.
All right, so Scott Schaefer challenges. Crucial spot. We said it off the top of the broadcast how vital and critical this game was for Syracuse. Now, Pitt's chasing a Coastal Division title, but for Syracuse, they're 3-3. If you lose this one, that's 3-4. And then you've got Florida State and Louisville on the road. Clemson at home. Clemson, who just waxed Miami, by the way. If 3-0 turns into 3-7, you can only imagine what sort of narrative will be following this team and Scott Schaefer. Yeah, you're right. And that's all around the country when you have proud fan bases who want to see success on and off the field. And right now for the Syracuse team, I think you're right. This is one of those defining moments, an opportunity for them to come out, beat a ranked team, a Pitt team that's just grinds it out. They're built like their head coach. And so for Schaefer, as you see him there trying to encourage his team, it's tough. You've got one timeout left. At this point in the ball game, I don't think there's going to be any surprise what Pitt is going to do. They're going to line up and run the football like they have on the majority of this drive. And when Scott Schaefer says his team is close, listen, there is evidence. This team fought LSU tooth and nail.
The play stand is called. It is a first down. Syracuse is charged with their third and final timeout, and then Foster challenge.
So now the Orange out of timeouts. They can't stop the clock. But Syracuse fought LSU tooth and nail in this building. That was a game in the fourth quarter. Had a chance last week against Virginia. Lost in triple overtime. They've been in this game throughout. They've had control for much of this game. Closing out ball games, it's a mentality. But you've also got to have practice doing it. And once things start going downhill for teams, and especially for players also, it's hard to get out of that slump. Hard to pick yourself up and find the motivation to continue to fight. And so for Syracuse to be so close and to have this happen, it's typical for Pitt to keep fighting, and they knew they were in for one today. Olesen's 8th carry of the drive, and he's been in beast mode down the stretch as he takes it inside the 15. All right, Ahmad, you were a defensive back in this situation without any timeouts. Strip the ball. What are the coaches telling you? Well, they're telling you to hold up the ball carrier, and the second guy there is responsible for coming in and trying to rake the football out. And you say, well, why would you do that? Well, you're trying to get the football back, and obviously they're going to run the ball. So, yeah, it's definitely a point of emphasis, and I'm sure the coaching staff had those conversations with their players before they headed back on the field. A 17-play drive for Pittsburgh. This will be play 17. Olesen off tackle. Not much room. Simmons on the stop, third down, and Pittsburgh will continue to let the clock run. The Panthers have all 3 timeouts. How big was that fake punt? That was the ball game.
No doubt
about it.
Wow.
Yep.
special play. Big time call from first-year head coach Pat Narduzzi.
If Pitt scores here, they may look back at that fake punt as one of the defining moments
Indeed.
of this season. Olesen up the middle. He's got a first down for Pittsburgh. That's really irrelevant at this point. Clock at 8 seconds continues to tick. Pitt's going to take a timeout and set up a field goal. Timeout, Pittsburgh. Chris Blewett will try to be the hero for a second straight week. Last week against Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh kicker Chris Blewett drilled a 56-yarder late in the fourth quarter. That was the difference in Atlanta. Blewett on for a 24-yarder to send Pittsburgh to 4-0 in the ACC. And Pittsburgh is 4-0 in the ACC. Blewett the hero once again.
Typical Pittsburgh football. Narduzzi, what can you say about the job that he's doing with this bunch and having them believe when the game's on the line? Fine football game here today, though.
Two longtime friends, rivals today, share an embrace. Pittsburgh has matched its win total from a season ago. And 2 weeks in a row, it's the kicker Blewett who comes through in the clutch.
The Orange will return home on Saturday, November 14th. And they host the Clemson Tigers in another ACC game here in Imperial. As of yet, game is yet to be determined.
This game changed, Ahmad, early in the third quarter when Eric Dungy got hit on the first play of the second half. Threw a couple of picks in the second half. Went to the locker room after that play, did come back and enter the game, but just wasn't the same.
Yeah, and I thought Pitt came out with the right mentality after halftime. I mean, they were losing going into half. They came back out, were very aggressive. They came out doing what they needed to do to leave here with a victory.
Today's game track brought to you by Taco Bell. And then you've got to go back to the call by Pat Narduzzi on that last drive, a 19-play, 89-yard drive that took more than 9 minutes, a fake field goal from about midfield.
Yeah, it was a brilliant play call from the first-year head coach at the right time and perfect execution on the part of the punt team.
Pat Narduzzi has Pittsburgh rolling. The Panthers are 6-1. They're in the driver's seat in the ACC Coastal. And Pitt only has to go on the road one more time all season. 4 losses in a row for the Orange. To the studio now, and Brendan.